Okay, thought I would give my thoughts on Raw this past week. The date being the 18th, I believe. Yeah. Sorry it took so long to get this up. I actually had it up earlier. The only problem being that it was too long, and YouTube didn't like that. They sent me a big fine and told me never to put my face on YouTube again. Kidding! But let's get this going because I do have to keep it under 10 minutes and I do have to rant a little bit. Good of the show, Shawn and Jericho. This saga that they got going is great. I didn't like how they brought Shawn's wife into the angle, because usually when you bring someone's wife into the angle, it's almost Vince Russo slash Ed Ferrara-esque. I hate to use that cliche type term, but it is. It's almost like calling someone by their real name. So instead of calling them, you know, Abyss, you call him Chris. Instead of calling him Sting, you call him Steve. But regardless, the whole punching Rebecca is getting a very, very good desired effect out of this. It's creating a little bit more emotion. It's going to create a little bit more animosity between Shawn and Jericho. And here's a really good thing that you probably haven't noticed, is that Jericho's had Lance Cade beside him the whole time, and you don't recognize that he's there because this feud is so good. When was the last time someone said, oh, Lance Cade interferes too much in the matches? You don't say that because either he's not doing it or you don't notice he's there. Which is bad for Lance Cade because he's got pretty much a good mentor in Jericho, but I don't know. Love the feud though. Time for the bad, because that's all I can say good about this show. Let's start with Batista. He wins in impressive, I can't talk today, sorry. Impressive fashion over John Cena at SummerSlam with the top rope powerbomb. Well, I shouldn't say top rope because he just caught him and powerbombed him. And then he fights Paul Burchill the next night. Wrestling has taught us that what happens is you go from one guy and you go up, and you keep going up till you reach the World Championship, and then you just fight everyone underneath. Well, what happens when you fight someone up here and you beat him? You then fight like the guy that's down here? It doesn't make any sense because he squashed him. And the same thing goes for JBL. I'll skip ahead and talk about JBL now. Same thing goes for JBL. He fights Jamie Noble and destroys him in like 3 seconds. Jamie Noble just fought the champion, you know, maybe lost, but it shouldn't take him that far down. Maybe he's fighting Batista tonight. Maybe he's fighting, you know, John Cena. You know, maybe they're in a tag match. I don't know. But the thing is that why are you going all the way down the ladder when guys like Paul Burchill and Jamie Noble are going to get squashed and they mean nothing in the title picture? And when you have a 5-person scramble coming up, don't you want to mix it up maybe a little bit? Have them face each other before that big 5-person scramble. Maybe have Kane versus JBL. Maybe have JBL versus Batista. You know, get animosity brewing so that when the 5-man scramble comes at Unforgiven, you've got all of that, you know, mixed up ingredient. You got your Pot, you got your Kane, you got your Punk, you got your Cena, you got your Batista, and you got your JBL all in there stirred around, because all of the animosity is stirred up with all those single matches and tag matches that you created over the last few weeks. Good stuff. Try it sometime. Also the finish with the JBL match. When was the last time that someone got the shit kicked out of them and then the ref goes down for a 3 count and stops at 1? Like, 1, he can't continue. It looks like a botched finish. Why can't you just finish the pinfall? If you're at 1, you might as well go the whole way. It looked really stupid and sloppy. I'm surprised he wasn't fired. The Divas match wasn't so much sloppy as it was just hard to watch. After watching TNA and their knockouts, and Gail Kim, and Awesome Kong, and just everything that they've done there, you know, it's hard to watch Divas when they come out and it's just basically pillow fighting. Adam Lee Originals. The concept of Adam Lee Originals is just complete garbage. And I'll tell you why. This whole Scramble Championship thing is bullcrap. Because of the fact that they did the exact same thing at WrestleMania 2000, but with the Hardcore Championship. Okay? Same exact thing. But now they're just saying a different name for it, and only having 5 guys in it, which I think WrestleMania 2000 had 15. Let me quickly check. Triangle. 13-man Hardcore Battle Royal for the Hardcore title. So, essentially, it was a Battle Royal, but it was the same thing. Yeah, and they did another match at, I think it was SummerSlam 2000, where Val Venus and Trish Stratus faced off against Eddie Guerrero in China, for the Intercontinental title. The only difference there is the women's title wasn't on the line. So you see what I'm saying? His originals aren't really originals, they're just modified concepts of stuff that's already gone on. The Dead and Alive tagline that King keeps repeating makes no sense. He already told us that Ray was alive and kicking, and he beat the crap out of him, and he's got him somewhere, and his pride's been bruised, and he's battered and beaten, and his will is gone, and everything like this. But then in the end he says, is he alive or dead? Well, if he's alive or dead, why are you telling us that? Because you just told us. Why do you keep repeating this? And finally, last but not least, the pinfall that rocked the world of wrestling this week. The clean pin on CM Punk. Now, the thing is that I can remember back in the day, which was a Wednesday, when Bob Holly would go into Mobile and he'd get a victory. Didn't matter if it was over Austin or Bret Hart or Owen Hart or Bulldog or 1-2-3 Kid. He'd always get the win because it was in Mobile. It was his hometown. Same with Bulldog, except for one night only, which was '97, and Shawn stole the European Championship from him. But regardless, whenever Bulldog would go over to England, he would win. So I don't understand why Punk, coming home to good old Chicago, all of a sudden he loses. You know, it's frustrating to watch because you know that Punk's a great wrestler, and all of a sudden he just... They might as well have taken the title from him, because it was that bad to lose in your hometown. You know, he's been wrestling independents out of Chicago with Ring of Honor for the last, what, 3-4 years? Gets a chance to wrestle with WWE over the last 2 years, becomes world champion, and then they don't even let him win in his hometown. Have Jericho pin him next week. And not only that, Jericho's not even in the scramble, so how does the pinfall make sense when Jericho's feuding with Shawn? Basically beat the crap out of Raw this week, but now you can see why. It's almost like a WCW booked show this week. Wasn't impressed, wasn't happy, and I'm just hoping and praying that Raw can be better this week. We saw ECW kick ass on Tuesday night. Looks like TNA is going to start in about an hour and 58 minutes for those that are you counting down. So not a bad week for wrestling, except for Raw. So hopefully Raw can pick it up next week. I would fire up some Astley. You know what? Let's do that before we go. Let's get some, what's his name? Rick Astley going. Because I think you guys like that. We'll get him going. It's for everyone that likes Rick Astley. Here we go.